Hi guys. Yeah, it's me. So we're gonna do a video about the Civil War, and we're gonna learn the cause and effects of the Civil War. So, welcome to our video on the Civil War and how its effects can still be felt in American society today. The Civil War, fought from 1861 to 1865, was one of the most important events in United States history because it changed the nation forever, politically, socially, and culturally. So today, we'll explore what started the conflict and how it was fought, how the country tried to rebuild afterward, and which long-term issues still echo from that area. We'll learn the Civil War impact and why it still matters today. So first, to understand the Civil War, we need to look at America in the 1800s. The North and the South were growing apart, and the biggest cause was slavery. Because while the northern states had mostly ended it, the southern states depended heavily on enslaved labor. Another cause was states' rights. Southern leaders argued that states should make their own decisions about slavery. And finally, the two regions had different economies. The North focused on industry, while the South relied on plantation. These differences grew into a national crisis. The Civil War officially began at Fort Sumter in 1861, when Confederate forces fired on the Union fort. One turning point came in 1863, when President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, declaring enslaved people in Confederate states to be free. This finally changed the war into a fight, not only for unity, but also for human freedom. And another major Another major moment was the Battle of Gettysburg, the most bloodiest battle of the war and a Union victory that shifted the momentum. And finally, in April 1865, Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered at Appomattox Courthouse, bringing the war to an end. Now, after the war, the United States entered a period called Reconstruction. From 1865 to 1877, this era focused on rebuilding the South and defending the rights of millions of newly freed African Americans. Now, there were three major constitutional changes known as the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, which abolished slavery, granted citizenship, and protected voting rights. The Freedmen's Bureau was created to help formerly enslaved people with education, housing, and work. But Reconstruction also faced strong resistance, and new challenges arose that made equality difficult to achieve. You see, although the war ended more than 150 years ago, many issues the nation still discusses today can be connected to this period of history. First of all, the struggle of equal rights continued long after Reconstruction. Movements for civil rights in the 1900s were connected to ideas first introduced during and after the Civil War. Second, there are lasting regional differences, cultural, economic, and historical, between the North and South that developed because of the war. And third, debates over the balance of power between the federal government and state governments began long before the war, but they were greatly shaped by it. Finally, the Americans remember the Civil War through monuments, textbooks, and family stories, which continues to influence the conversations about history, identity, national unity. These ongoing discussions can show how deeply the Civil War shaped American culture. So, the Civil War may be a chapter from the 1800s, but its impact still guides the battles. The Civil War may be a chapter from the 1800s, but its impact still guides the United States today. By understanding the causes, the battles, and Reconstruction, and the long-term social effects, we can better understand how the country became what it is now. History doesn't disappear. It shapes the present and helps guide the future. So thanks for watching, and remember, learning history helps us build a stronger and more informed society.
Between 1860 and 1861, 11 Southern states withdrew from the United States and formed the Confederate States of America. They left or seceded in response to the growing movement for the nationwide abolition of slavery. Mississippi said, "Our position is thoroughly identified with the institution of slavery." South Carolina cited hostility on the part of the non-slaveholding states to the institution of slavery. In March 1861, the Vice President of the Confederacy, Alexander Stephens, proclaimed that the cornerstone of the new Confederate government was white supremacy, or as he put it, slavery and subordination to white people was the natural and normal condition of Black people in America and the immediate cause of the late rupture and present revolution. 3 weeks after the now infamous Cornerstone speech, the American Civil War began. The conflict lasted 4 years, had a death toll of about 750,000, and ended with the Confederacy's defeat. By 1866, barely a year after the war ended, Southern sources began claiming the conflict wasn't actually about slavery. Meanwhile, Frederick Douglass, a prominent abolitionist and formerly enslaved person, cautioned, "The spirit of secession is stronger today than ever." From the words of Confederate leaders, the reason for the war could not have been clearer. It was slavery. So how did this revisionist history come about? The answer lies in the lost cause, a cultural myth about the Confederacy. The term was coined by Edward Pollard, a pro-Confederate journalist. In 1866, he published The Lost Cause, a new Southern history of the War of the Confederates. Pollard pointed out that the U.S. Constitution gave states the right to govern themselves independently in all areas